Hey guys, welcome to part 4 of the Dodge Dakota frame repair video series. If you haven't seen them, in part 1 I took this truck apart. In part 2 we repaired the back half of the frame. In part 3 we did the front half of the frame. And in this one I finished the work on the frame, I get everything painted, and we get it bolted back together. If that interests you, stay tuned. We'll get started. I've got everything bolted together right now just to make sure everything fits. What I want to do is drill the holes for the cross member and for the leaf spring perch with them installed and everything bolted together. That way I know I get the holes in the right spot and I know everything fits. I want to make sure that these holes are drilled accurately and that they're drilled square to the frame. So to do that, I'm going to use one of these magnetic drill presses. I got this one on Amazon. It cost way too much money for what it is. I actually bought it for my mill build where I have to drill about 1,000 holes for linear guide rails. So since I've got it, it'll be a really good thing, I think, for drilling these holes. Especially given that it's magnetic. I can put it up here, charge the electromagnet, get everything lined up, and drill these holes in one shot. So we're to the point now where all the repair work is done. All the welding, all the patching, the holes are where they need to be, everything fits really well. So now it's time to take this thing apart and get it painted. So what I want to do is I want to paint everything from about here to here. The back section of the frame has been cosmolined, and getting that off and painting it's going to be tough, plus it really doesn't need it. So getting this section where most of the salt and whatnot gets splashed will be ideal. So I'm going to take these bolts out, get this all disassembled, take the back outside, and we'll get this painted. I've had enough practice removing this rear frame. I've gotten pretty good at it. When you accidentally record a day's worth of video without audio, you make a montage. So let's clean this frame up and get it painted. So I managed to get all the parts primed with self-etch. You saw that I used a red self-etch and then the black. I did that on the contact surfaces. That red stuff is the weld through, and it's, I don't know, it's really durable. So I thought it couldn't hurt to have 2 layers of primer on those contact surfaces. I'm getting ready now to put on the paint, and I'm using this 2K Hot Rod Black paint. Usually I use this stuff from Spraymax, but I couldn't get it. So I'm going to fire this off, and then I'm going to paint the frame, the cross member, the leaf spring perches, all at the same time. I let these parts cure overnight. It was pretty cold in the shop. It got down to like 37 degrees. I was giving it some thought, and when I put this together a couple times for fit tests, I had to really wail on this cross member to get it in place. And now that it's painted up real nice, I really don't want to do that. So to get that in there, since I've got that clamp, I'm thinking I'll try and clamp these rear rails together and move them in a little bit. And then I'll try and use my porta power to spread the front frame rails. That would give me the room I need to get the cross member in. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a can of Cosmoline and we're going to unload it on the insides of these frame rails. What I want is a good thick layer of Cosmoline separating the two frame halves. And this is what I'm using, RP 342. So I've been using it on automotive undercarriage components. I've had good luck with it. So I've given this each contacting point, both on the truck and on the rear frame, a good thick coating of this. Because it's so cold out, it's going to stay liquidy for a while. It takes a bit of time for the solvents to flash out. So I'm going to point a heat lamp at this, I'm going to take a little break and let it thicken up. And then I'm going to move the frame over and try and perch it on this. It's just heavy enough and awkward enough. It's tough for me to move around by myself. I don't have anybody here to help me. So I'm going to try and get it perched on here, and then I'll clamp it together and try and get it lowered and into the frame without tearing it up too much. And we'll go from there. We'll bolt it together. Alright guys, I'm going to call this the end of part 4. In this one, we finished the work on the frame, got it painted, and got everything bolted back together. In part 5, I'm going to put the truck back together. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. I hope you enjoyed this video, or at least found something useful. I'll admit, this project has taken a lot longer than I initially thought it would. The truck has been apart probably for about a month now, so if you're doing something similar, keep that in mind. You're going to have some downtime. If you enjoyed watching this or found it useful, would you consider subscribing? That way, as I release new content, you'll know about it. So with that guys, stay tuned for part 5. Thanks for watching.